Well fellas, this isn't how the next Solstice video is supposed to go, but here we are. So as you can tell today, we're currently in the engine bay. We've thought about doing some mods and everything, but of course, we have somehow developed some major oil and possibly coolant leak in the last little bit of driving it and just getting a feel for the car. We got part of it taken apart here, so let's take a look. Now, if we take a look in here at what we got this cover off and everything and this charge pop so we can get down in here. And here is where we got some oil pulling up on top of the turbo. I'm assuming it's blowing up from the front here because it's coating the whole underside and getting up on top. So we're thinking possibly that this timing cover could be leaking. Also, this water pump is pretty old. This car has high mileage, so it's probably done too. And while we're in here, we might as well replace chains and stuff and get this engine ready to go. This thing is terribly hard to work on just because of the way it's laid out. We're about to take this hood off so we can get in here and tear everything out of the front so you can actually access the front of the engine. Well, that was terrible. Make sure you do that with 2 people, guys. Now we can actually see what we're getting into here. This thing's kind of how the Corvettes are, as well as the Camaros with their angled radiators, which makes things really fun when it comes to working on the engine. Alright, we've skipped a lot of the boring stuff and now we're into the good junk. Got all this radiator stuff out of the way so we can actually get in here and get started on the engine portion. Now, we found some issues. Our first issue that has arose is right here. You can see that gasket is looking pretty rough. There's a little crack. This is why the oil has kind of been dripping on the turbo. So we're gonna go ahead and get that fixed up. Second issue, and a good thing that we're down here, take a look at how much slack is in this chain. That's supposed to be tight, so we're gonna go ahead. It's a good thing we're getting down here and replace all these tensioners. We got a new chain, we got new gears, new water pump coming in. So all these wear items that need to be replaced at like 100K are gonna be getting replaced now. All right, well, that was a hassle. Timing cover is off. Now, what did we find? Classic. Tensioners are broken. So good thing our kit comes with new guides and tensioners and everything. All right, finally, this whole thing is disassembled. This was hell. Taking this water pump out was possibly one of the hardest things on the entire engine. Having to take out the thermostat housing back here, took it out, had to take a little pipe out, and then you get this water pump out. You have to take all the chains and everything off, and then squeeze it through this little hole right here. That was real nice. But now we can start putting it back together, and I'll show you with the new water pump what we're working with here. So here's our new water pump. This is actually a 2-piece water pump. If you look right here, this is our pulley side. Here is the other side, and it has this cover that goes on it, which you have to put the cover on after you've put it in. This is where it gets real hard. And you gotta get that back on there before you can put the pump back in. Cool thing is the water pump looks like a turbo. It's kinda cool. Here.
Looks like you lost another one.
All right, fellas, getting that cover back on took about 30 to 45 minutes right there. Yep, and just like that water pump's in. What a great design by old Chevy. Fellas, this bolt right here was the only thing keeping our chain from getting too loose and killing the engine. You can see it was riding on that bolt. Well, now we're out here in the sun, we can see that nice new timing cover. That's about the shiniest thing on the whole engine. And now, really all that's left is just putting all this odd-in stuff back in. All right, let's see if I can cycle this thing over, get a little oil in that new oil pump, get it primed a little bit, and then we'll go for a startup. Reckon that built some oil pressure, so we're gonna hook up the plugs and see if she'll start. Got a little bit of coolant burning off from where we took all that junk off, but I'm sure it'll go ahead and clean up here in a little bit. But everything seems to be doing all right. We're gonna make sure that we get some coolant in her and top it off. Hopefully it'll start cycling here soon. So as you can tell, the car is now moved over on this little ramp. I've been trying to get this coolant system bled for like 3 days straight, and it still overheats and has no heat. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw a new thermostat in, because we did not do that. Probably should have done that to begin with. Whenever we started it up and run it and everything, I've tried purging the radiator hoses, completely cold, which means it must not be getting past thermostat. So I can take all this stuff back apart. So we got this thing out, and we're gonna test if it actually works, and if it opens, then I'm just a retard. Well, the original one is opened, so is the new one. The new one's opened up. So I don't know what's going on. I literally cannot get this thing to run right for nothing. I tell you, quite the refill procedure on these vehicles. Trying to get that air out. Well, fellas, after a billion years and taking the thermostat housing, everything back out, would you wonder? The only thing wrong with it was a bad O-ring on the coolant crossover pipe. Go get you one of these sets for when you're working on your cars. Just keep it handy. Anytime you get bad O-rings, just replace them.
$10 for 5 million O-rings.
Yeah, $10. Look at how many O-rings. Yeah, so we took a drive, did a little pull, and it actually stayed good temperature, like 190, 200. So I think this thing's actually fixed. But yeah, mods are currently in the mail. So next time you see it, gonna be getting some mods. Ah!